This is The Scoop for Wednesday.
I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines. Several new laws took effect in Florida on July 1st. WMNF's Madison Overmeyer reports on one that allows cities to set up slow speed limits for flooded streets.
When someone is driving too fast and recklessly on a flooded street, it can often create dangerous wakes. The moving water can enter and damage homes. Kevin Batdor, president of the Shore Acres Civic Association in St. Petersburg, says the idea for the law originated in Shore Acres.
You're causing more damage, not only to your own vehicle driving through salt water, but to people's homes. And we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. By thousands, I mean hundreds of thousands per house. It's crazy.
If drivers are not following the speed limits in the flood zones, officers now have the power to hand out citations. Mike Kovacek, assistant chief at St. Pete Police Department, says they have used public service announcement for years to encourage people to slow down and not drive through flooded waters.
The catalyst behind the law was to kind of put a little bit of teeth to the fact that we're trying to get people to do the right thing. After the storm has subsided, there's still water in the roadways. You're hoping as a homeowner, maybe the water did not go into your house, or if it did, it had receded. And the last thing they want is a large pickup truck or a vehicle to drive down the street and push all that water back into their residence.
He says the St. Petersburg Police Department hopes that the residents will listen to their public service announcements and they will not have to resort to handing out citations. For WMNF News, I'm Madison Overmeyer.
Late last month, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that could expand charter schools called Schools of Hope. WMNF's Sarah Goebel reports that opponents are concerned about one part that allows charter schools to co-locate inside public schools.
The bill passed on the last day of the legislative session, June 17th, while many people were focused on the state budget. Damaris Allen, Executive Director of Families for Strong Public Schools, says it could harm traditional public education.
So it basically allows another school system to operate rent-free in our public schools, but someone has to pay the cost that goes along with operating those schools, and that's going to be our traditional public school. And why that is a challenge is that the way our funding system in Florida works is that we fund schools by students in seats. And so that means if that co-located charter school has a certain number of students, they're getting the same amount per student as the traditional public school, except they're not having to pay for the physical building like our traditional public school.
Democratic State Representative Fentress Driscoll is also concerned how it might impact funding for public schools.
And I think it really sounded the alarms because we have a constitutional obligation to fully fund or adequately fund our public schools and to make sure that we are providing high quality public schools. And it feels very difficult to do that when any charter school, which yes, technically is a public school, but when any charter school can just come in and take over. And so it feels very, very threatening to our neighborhood public schools.
Supporters say the law could expand school choice options. It could also allow charter schools to have a stricter codes of conduct, which could mean some students would be excluded. For WMNF News, I'm Sarah Goebel.
In signing the state budget, Governor Ron DeSantis vetoed $1.3 million in prison reform initiatives. WMNF's Chris Young has more.
According to the Tallahassee Democrat, the veto included $1 million that would have allowed inmates with good behavior a free 15-minute phone call each month. DeSantis also vetoed $300,000 to a nonprofit that would put air conditioning in more Florida prisons. Prison reform advocate and state Democratic Representative Diane Hart criticized the veto.
People are dying from illnesses because of the heat inside of our prisons at any given time. It could be over 100 degrees when we're having 100 degrees here. It's a concrete block building, and so many don't have AC.
Last year, the Florida Justice Institute filed a lawsuit against the Florida Department of Corrections due to the lack of air conditioning at Dade Correctional Institute. Chris Young, WMNF News.
Thunderstorms today with highs in the lower 90s, partly cloudy tonight with overnight lows in the mid-70s, a possible chance of a stray shower tomorrow, and slightly warmer with highs in the lower 90s. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.